properly.
Yes. So, welcome you all to this post snacks session of this day seminar. Now, let me say a few words about CA Jayanth Uppuluri. He is a qualified chartered accountant and as well as a cost and management accountant. He has done his master's in financial management from Pondicherry University. చెప్పలేదు నాకు Bachelor of BCom graduate from Nagarjuna University. He worked with Oracle implementations for 4 years in Infosys and worked as security implementations in Deloitte for 1 year and also worked with Oracle as a senior product manager for 2 years and implemented GST in Brazil and Mexico. And he has worked on Oracle cloud development and bagged a fair knowledge on Brazil localizations and Mexican reporting. He is currently in practice at Vijayawada with the partner with Pavan and Jayanth Chartered Accountants. And he is mainly involved in direct and indirect taxation matters and also specializes in GST. He has over 15 years of post-qualification experience, 7 years at Oracle as functional consultant, and he is with the managing committee of Vijayawada branch. He was the SICASA chairman last year. During his tenure, Vijayawada branch student association has bagged best branch award in southern region, and also during his SICASA tenureship, branch also bagged the national award. And currently, he is the treasurer for Vijayawada branch. Now, with these few words, I hand over the proceedings to the session speaker, CA Jayanth.
Final presentation. Yeah. Very good evening to one and all. Before moving into the actual presentation, I would like to speak for some time so that all of us will be on the same platform while opening the PPT. So PPT doesn't speak much. I speak much, and PPT have very less content. So we start with general discussion. Okay. So today we are here to learn about cloud. So how cloud will be developed, what are the strategies in cloud, what are the deployment models, and what are other strategies and all the things which are there in the cloud. So how we use them as a layman, and how an organization uses cloud environment for making or storing its data, or maintaining its books of accounts, or maintaining its manufacturing data, whatever it may be. How organization uses the cloud. And as an auditor, finally, what we are going to see is how we step into an organization where the books of accounts, where the entire infrastructure relating to this is maintained under ERP or cloud environment. How we are going to do the audit, and what are the conditions which are need to be taken care by us before we start an audit under cloud or ERP environment. So this is the overall strategy which we are going to look today. So right. So we come up with are anyone of using any cloud application as of now? Sir, please now. Anyone are using any cloud applications? Yeah. So all of us knowingly or unknowingly using cloud application. Every day you use YouTube, right? So the video which we are looking in the YouTube is stored in our memory card or our phone memory. No, it's stored somewhere. Where it is stored, we don't know. But we are viewing, we have the data connection with our mobile, or we have the internet network to our laptop. We watch the video. In the same sense, the entire data or entire video streaming which is stored on cloud, which we are accessing through a secure broadband or internet connection. So, knowingly or unknowingly, we are using cloud applications in every day and day to day in each part of our life. So, most of are using like Amazon, Netflix, Hotstar, right? So, those all are cloud applications. So, none of that content is there in our laptop or mobile. It's there on the cloud. What we are doing, we are just purchasing a user login, right? We are purchasing a user login for Amazon Prime and we are signing in and accessing. So to purchase that Amazon license, are we calling to any Amazon customer care or such? Or for example, Disney Hotstar is there. Are we calling any sales executive of Disney Hotstar to get connection on our mobile? No, right? We are just downloading the app, giving some of our credentials like email ID and phone number, and we are moving forward, right? After making the request payments. So it is a self-driven model. So all the cloud applications are self-driven. That may be a Netflix or Amazon. That may be an accounting package or accounting software, or that may be audit tool, which is on the cloud. So why is relating these two to the our cases? Because these are like YouTube or Netflix or Amazon. We are using it from class like 5, 6 years. Most of us are using, right? Amazon Prime or Disney Hotstar. In the same sense, there are so many accounting packages which are saved on the cloud, where most of the organizations are using them. In the same sense, there are so many audit tools deployed on the cloud, where so many organizations are using it. So once we start those audits, what are the considerations which we need to take in care before we start that type of audits? So that's what we are going to see today. So far so good, right? You are able to understand and follow. So I want to, we are going deep into the subject. I want to deploy, I have a good business over here in Vijayawada. The business is growing very big. So I want to incorporate, or like I want to implement an ERP or a cloud-based which can be accessed from all parts of the world. I asked one of the consultant and asked him to suggest me. So my business is growing in such a way. So what can I do? So then the consultant came up with two alternatives to me. Probably the consultant is our chairman, so Narendra Garu. I asked Narendra Garu to suggest me, sir. My business is growing in a big way. So what can I do to satisfy or to accommodate my growing business needs to give service to the clients or sell products across the globe? So then Narendra Garu came up with two options. So one of the options is that implementing ERP with on-premise model and implementing ERP in a cloud. So there are two things: implementing in the on-premise model and implementing it on the cloud. So what is the difference between on-premise model and cloud? So that is the major difference which we are going to see now before moving into the deployment models and these other services. So on-premise model is nothing but it's a traditional implementation where all the storage space, all the servers, all the interfaces, all the applications will be on our building only. That means if we take this as an on-premise model, everything will be stored in first floor and second floor, where the operations are being done. That means where the sales orders, we treat this as a sales office. So we say that all the things which are the required infrastructure for maintaining of a ERP, those are the servers, data storage devices, interfaces, applications, and other devices which are actually required to run an ERP, which can be support globally. So we have deployed all them in first and second floor. In the third and fourth floor, I have ERPs where all the systems are built. The systems are being connected in a LAN, and all the operations are being done successfully from here. So here, there are so many differences between this ERP on-premise model and cloud. So as of now, the example which I given, the business is growing, right? So if the business is growing to what I am expected, this is good. Okay. So to develop this entire structure, I have invested more than it will be in crores. To invest all these things, it will be in crores. Some bad happened, or some demand has been, or there is a new product in the market. The product which I launched immediately has been collapsed. So the investment which I made in this on-premise model is entirely gone. I use the services, but as of now, there is no market for the product which I am being manufactured or which are being supplied by me. So the entire investment which is I have put in here is gone. So there are so many advantages and disadvantages when compared to on-premise and cloud. Now we come to the cloud. This can be overcome by cloud environment. For example, we take the example of Tally itself. You just think as a Tally as a good ERP where it can, because all of us know Tally. Because I know Oracle, someone know SAP, someone know JD Edwards, someone knows Salesforce, but all of us know Tally. So we take the example of Tally so that all will be on the same page. So now I have deployed Tally, but that is no use. Now I don't know what to do. But Tally has given me so many services. So in such stage, cloud will come in, step in, and take this disadvantage out and give its benefits in such a way that all the services, what are the facilities which we take from Tally, the ERP which is maintained on the cloud also gives. But in such a case, we need not buy a server, we need not buy a storage space, or we need not develop any interfaces, we need not develop any application programs. All will be deployed on the cloud. So what is the cloud? What is maybe a public cloud or private cloud? We'll discuss down the line. So every facility is deployed on the cloud. So what we do is how we just subscribe Netflix and watch the movie. We just buy a user login to maintain our books of accounts in the cloud. Example for this is most of us know Zoho Books, right? So most of us know QuickBooks. So those are the cloud applications. So most of us are using Winman or some other KDK software or some other packages, right? Some other packages. There are some other packages which is like ClearTax is there, right? It is on cloud. But our Winman, which we are usually using in office, is not exactly on the cloud. I have spoken with Winman and KDK people. They are gradually, eventually in a year or two, they will be also on the cloud. So what I'm going to say is, so the thing which can be run and which can be successfully implemented on premise, that can be done through ERP on cloud also with very, 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 very minimal cost. So if we are running it on a trial run, then for us, it's better going into cloud rather than developing an ERP in on-premise model. So here, okay, we leave it as a part. My business is really running good, and I have expanded to Vizag and other states in other places in Andhra Pradesh. Now I also expanded to entire India. Now I want to give a footprint on Dubai and also US, Asia Pacific, and also in US and Europe markets. So if I am still using the on-premise model, what I need to do? If I enter the European markets, again I need to install all this stuff there because this ERP, this servers which I implemented over here will support only some extent. It will not support to the great extent which I developed. No, again this entire structure need to be built in London or some other place, Amsterdam, to get services over there. In this, that means we don't see any elasticity when compared to on-premise model. If I am deploying in cloud and using cloud, what I do? If I open a store in London, I just buy 2 more user licenses, which will be mapped to London office and use them. Because once the user uses that login in the London, all the services which my user and accountant using in Vijayawada in my corporate office will also have facilities, the same programs deployed on server, deployed on cloud. The same programs and same cloud and infrastructure can be used by person who sits in London. So there is elasticity in cloud. There is no elasticity on-premise model. So doing the line, there are so many differences as such. Shall I move forward in PPT? So most of the slides we have already covered. So this is what I am talking about. This is on-premise model and this is cloud computing. We pay higher and the scalability is less. Pay for what we use. Scale up, pay more, scale down, pay less. This is what we discussed, right? So the second difference is huge spaces for servers. We already discussed it. There is so much storage space is required because renting a building in this type of area will be in lakhs. But that can be covered once we store everything on cloud. Appoint a team for hardware and software maintenance. So we have not discussed it. We need to deploy a IT team, IT admin team to take into the consideration of all the goods and bads which will happen in the actual maintenance of hardware and software. In cloud environment, everything will be looked by the cloud service provider. Now you have heard a new word called cloud service provider. Who is he? I will tell you down there. Next is poor data security. The security will be not that much poor. It will be poor when compared to cloud because cloud is a place which is managed by very big giants of IT. So IBM have a cloud space, Google have a cloud space, and Amazon have a cloud space, and so many companies as such. Microsoft has the cloud space. So these are IT giants where they can deploy more security programs than we deploy security on our individual level. That's what security will be there. When compared to the security is less in on-premise. The next one is less chance of data recovery. So once the data something happened, because recently we had a cyclone. We have so many breakages of windows in our building itself because of the recent cyclone. So if that's something that happens and water pumps in, we cannot do anything, right? So there is a lack of data recovery that once some disaster happens. But that's not the case with cloud. So this thing we already discussed, lack of flexibility. There is no here high flexibility. The thing is that one more thing which we will discuss is once we are using this Netflix and Amazon apps, so automatically the updates of the apps will happen, right? We need not run any program or we need not run any interface to update our application. So automatically it will be only updates will be in the same way the applications on cloud also will get automatically updated. So we see that recently when we are doing our tax service, we have seen that AAS is there. AAS will be in the list of values. But recently it has moved to the dashboard, right? We have observed that moving AAS feature from the list of values and services to the direct dashboard. So that has happened individually. That has happened. Honestly, we have not done any program. We have not done anything on our computer. So it is automatically changing. So these types of dynamic updates will automatically happen when we are using applications on cloud. In the same sense, our Google also provides some notifications. What notifications? So you have weekly notifications as such. You have used this much time in the last 15 days on YouTube, this much on social media, this much on reading, this much on WhatsApp. It will provide notifications, right? We just see and ignore it. In the same sense, once we are using the application on cloud also, it will provide notifications that these are the modules which are used extensively. These are the modules we have not even touched because I am maintaining sales office here. Out of my curiosity, I have also purchased manufacturing modules also, where I don't have any manufacturing process deployed over in my business. In such a case, I need not pay for manufacturing modules. I am not at all touching them. So that pop-up message also will come under cloud application so that we can save by not investing again in this manufacturing applications. So data cannot be accessed remotely. That's what I already discussed. Less collaboration is collaboration will be more. Takes longer time for implementation time. On premise, it will take around 18 months to 24 months to get actual implementation and going live. But it will be running in a cloud environment with 6 to 8 weeks. We can run the application once deploying on the cloud. So these are the major differences between on-premise model in cloud. So then what is cloud computing? Cloud computing refers to the delivery of computing services over the internet, including storage, processing, and software applications. This already we discussed it. And it allows to access resources and services on demand without the need of physical infrastructure or local servers. So this is also mostly covered. Initially, the explanation itself. This is also covered. So these are the characteristics. On-demand service. I also told that whenever you require, you just pay the required fees and you start using broad network access. You can access across the globe. Resource pooling. All the resources will be dumped in somewhere maintained by a service provider. I mean cloud service provider. The pool resource can be used by many users. Rapid elasticity. Measure service. Measure service also we discussed. So the whether we are being usage, whether the manufacturing modules can be used or not, can be continued or not, that can be also easily measured in this type of cloud computing. So now we have moved to deployment models and service models of cloud. So till now we are okay, right? Service models and deployment easily accessible. So there are service models and deployment models. First we talk about deployment models. So now we came to understand what is cloud and what is there and where all the applications and storage will be stored on our name, so that we will be using them. So using them. What are those deployment models? There are three deployment models characterized by public cloud, private cloud, and hybrid cloud. So we already studied these type of things in our ESA and some other. So public cloud is nothing but there will be a cloud infrastructure which is developed and maintained by a service provider. I also take purchase some space in it, and you also space. Everyone will take, but you will be using it in public way. I mean, all of them we are using, but everyone they have their own secured storage space where they can store their applications or where they can store their data. In the same way, private cloud is nothing but where there is a cloud is set up by a service provider, where the entire cloud space is used by a single organization. For example, if you take Reliance, Reliance will purchase a cloud space on the cloud environment, where Reliance Industries, Reliance Petroleum, Reliance Communication, and other Reliance infrastructure will be using those cloud space. So that is called as private cloud. The entire thing will be owned by Reliance itself. So what is a hybrid cloud? Hybrid is a mixture of public cloud and private cloud is the hybrid cloud, where government organizations usually maintain this hybrid cloud, where the non-sensitivity data, like where the data will be shared between departments and between the state government and central government will be shared on the public cloud, and the confidential data will be saved on the private cloud. So this is the concept of public cloud, private cloud, and the hybrid cloud. There is also a small concept called as community cloud, where it is nothing but we take example of Tata's. So they have ARG1, ARG2, ARG3 concept. Tata have Tata Communications, Tata Software Services. So in the same sense, they will be using it in a their own community. So that is the called as community cloud. So this is what we have already discussed. Services are provided over public. This is the concept of public cloud. And this is the concept of private cloud, where it will be infrastructure is dedicated to a single organization and may be located on-premise or off-premise, whatever it may be. There is no problem because the entire cloud itself it belongs to a single organization. Private cloud environment are designed to meet the specific security and compliances or performance requirements. So this is the concept of private cloud. So hybrid cloud is nothing but a mixture of private cloud and public cloud. So we already discussed that government organizations will share the data which is accessible by all in a public cloud and a confidential data on a private cloud. So community cloud also we discussed, where the entire cloud is owned by one company, ARG1, ARG2, ARG3, all the organizations belong to a same parent company. That is the concept of community cloud. So we take a simple example to explain this private cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud. So I want to travel here from here to Hyderabad. Uh, I booked one bus in APSRTC. I took one ticket and occupied my seat and boarded, and I successfully traveled to Hyderabad and reached my destination, and my job is done. That is a public crowd. Usually, the ticket fare will be less, but the services which I got used is comfortable to me. So private car is nothing but I have a own car. I drove my car by filling petrol and reach at the destination, and there also my job is done. But it is more secured when compared to bus travel. But both serve my purpose. Hybrid cloud is nothing but rent a cab. I don't own a cab. I don't own a driver. I just pay them for the services which I utilized for their car, and I reach my destination. So this is the simple example which we can be quoting for making the correct differentiation between private cloud, public cloud, and hybrid cloud. So now we talk about infrastructure, service models. Service models is key and more techno-oriented. I'll try to explain you very simply. Even though you don't understand, there's nothing much to panic or nothing much to think over it. So we have three networking, service models. One is the infrastructure as a service. The second one is platform as a service. And third one is software as a service. First, we talk about the third one so that we can understand easily the other two. So software as a service is nothing but the applications which we already discussed on Amazon, Netflix, YouTube. These are all deployed as SaaS. SaaS is software as a service. They are just we log into our user account and we use the services. Here, we have not developed any program. We have not developed any application. Okay. Here, we don't own any cloud space. We don't own any server storage space or servers on the cloud. We don't have anything. We are using it an application as an end customer. It is called as software as a service. Now we go a step, which is called as platform as a service. Platform as a service is nothing but organizations like Infosys, TCS develop the programs according to the business requirements of the clients, right? So once business have a requirement, for example, Tally, in Tally, we take the example of Tally Nabandhan. Joho or Tally, whatever it may be, Joho. In Joho have a future or not, we need to dig in such a way, sir. So I am selling 1,122 products. They are classified into 7-8 verticals. I want one of the product, namely the product number 998, profitability of that product for the entire year. That program can be, that type of program, it is nothing but MIS. MIS is nothing but management information system. System report, management information system reports. Most of the programs are deployed in the standard product, but some of the peculiar requirements as such will not get deployed. Once we require this type of requirement, the software companies like Infosys, TCS, they develop the program and they develop a report and give us. So if we run that report, we definitely know that on selling this type of product number 998, how much profit the organization has been earned. We can get those type of reports. So those type of reports will not be available on standard product. The product need to be customized. Once the customization will be taken and handled by companies like Infosys and TCS. So platform as a service deployment model will be useful for those companies where they deploy, where they develop the applications. That means Infosys itself don't have any cloud server. Server itself, the service is on the cloud, and that application will be developed on the cloud. But they develop the programs. So this is a step of software as a service. In the software service, we directly log in and use. In platform as a service, IT admins will develop the program. Now, infrastructure as a service is nothing where the entire structure, that means entire cloud architecture owned by cloud service provider, then he provides service. That means he owns the entire architecture as storage space, programs, interfaces, servers that will be used by platform as a service provider to develop the programs. and those programs will be used by us as the end customers. So this is the hierarchy. So that's what we are doing. Infrastructure as service is a cloud computing model that provides on-demand access to compute resources such as server, storage spaces, network, and virtualization. So the usually who uses this is IT admins. So the second thing is platform as a service. We have discussed about platform as a service. Cloud offers a platform for developing, testing, and deployment applications. Focus on application development without worrying about infrastructure management, because infrastructure management will be handled by infrastructure as a service. So they need not. So infrastructure as a service will be taken care about these all these applications they're running. The actual platform as a service are software developers who actually develop the program. So software as a service is nothing but we already discussed. Software delivers software applications over the internet on subscription basis. So major users are end customers. Now I will tell this entire structure. Maybe it is technically a bit high. I will try to tell you with one example. Yeah, this is on-premise. This is IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. In on-premise, application, data, runtime, middleware, operating system, server storage, everything you owned by us. In IaaS structure, application, data, runtime, and operating system is owned by the service provider, and servers owned by us, and server storage space networking will be owned by the service provider. In PaaS, application and data only owned by us, and everything will be owned by application service means cloud service provider. In SaaS, everything will be owned by him. What we use is just log in and see. So this is the actual differences between on-premise, IaaS, SaaS, and PaaS. So even though we don't understand, I have one more simple example. So I have a desire to eat a cake. Okay. I have a desire to eat a cake. So what are the alternatives for me to taste or eat that cake? In on-premise model, that is, I made at home where dining table, water, electricity, oven, cake pan, flour, sugar, butter, eggs, all are mine. I'll go into my kitchen and we make the cake and I eat. In IaaS model, this dining table, water, electricity, oven, and cake pan is mine. I bought flour from outside, sugar from outside, butter and eggs from outside, and made cake, and I've enjoyed it. In class, I have only dining table and water with me. What I did, I opened Swiggy and ordered one cake. Cake reached my home. I put it on my dining table with some water. I enjoyed my cake. SaaS is nothing but I don't have anything with me. I went out to a bakery, had cake, and came back. So this is the actual difference between on-premise model, IaaS, PaaS, and SaaS. Understood? These are the major cloud service providers. AWS means nothing but Amazon. Microsoft Azure is nothing but Microsoft. IBM Cloud is nothing but IBM. Google we know. Digital Ocean is a startup on cloud computing which is competing with big giants. VMware is nothing but it's a Wipro sister concern. So these are the major cloud service providers on existing now. There are also more than hundreds of cloud service providers as of now in the market. So while choosing, we need to see how good it is, and every cloud service provider has their own ratings. We can go with the ratings and can then. So what are the benefits? So these now we are able to understand what is cloud, right? So benefits is nothing but cost saving, scalability, flexibility, reliability, and collaboration. Data storage and backup. What are the common use cases where we use actually the cloud? Data store for storing data we'll use for software development and testing. I said that already Infosys and Wipro, TCS companies use cloud services to develop their programs. Web and mobile applications, which we usually use big data analysis. So nowadays that we are using and we are hearing about AI in all the stages, right? So in that also, cloud will be, you use cloud in developing AI applications as well. In case of disaster recovery also, we'll be using cloud. So the next one is how will be the cloud architecture. So this is the cloud actual architecture. So what we see it on the mobile, only the videos which we are seeing on YouTube. We don't see what are the storage space behind, what are the servers which are running behind to get that video pumped in onto our application or to our user interface. So this is how it is structure is built. So this is what we see usually, which is called as front end. So for front end to back end, we have only connector of internet connection, where in the back end we have application, servers, runtime, and like storage space, infrastructure, security management. Everything will be deployed on back end, which we usually don't see. That will be developed and that will be maintained by the cloud service provider. Cloud architecture best practices. So upfront planning, security first, disaster recovery readiness, maximum performance and cost optimization. And this is conclusion, nothing but uh, and points to remember is nothing but sum up of all the things which we already discussed. So to this extent, we have just backed the knowledge of what is cloud and how the cloud runs and how the cloud is developed and how the cloud is, how the applications are being deployed on the cloud. We are able to understand, right? ఎక్కడతో నా పని అయిపోయింది ఎక్కడి నుంచి అందరికీ మనకు తెలిసిందే సో ఏ మేబీ ది audit conducted at manual audit, system audit, or the cloud audit or ERP audit, overall objective of the audit doesn't change. Overall objective of the audit will be like same. How we start with and how we deal with will be changing depending upon the interface or like depending upon the phase of audit which we are in. So from now you can participate and also you can elaborate me in the business cases which you are already been known with so that we can share the experiences moving forward. Okay. Yeah. 1 minute. So usually, what are the risks which are associated once we start conducting any audit? So we say here curriculum because we are already concentrating in that. So we start usually what are the risks which we have? The first risk which we have is identity and access management. So this plays a key role because as we discussed, there will be so many users located across the globe. వాళ్ళు ఎక్కడెక్కడో కూర్చుంటారు ఎక్కడెక్కడి నుంచో ఆపరేషన్స్ జరుగుతాయి ఆ ఆపరేషన్స్ అన్ని కూడా ఎవరు యాక్సెస్ చేస్తున్నారు ఎట్లా యాక్సెస్ చేస్తున్నారు అనేది ఫస్ట్ పాయింట్ అలాగే ద నెక్స్ట్ వన్ ఈస్ డేటా సో హౌ సెక్యూర్ డేటా ఈస్ బీయింగ్ స్టోర్డ్ how what are the risks which are associated in storing data and what are the mitigation measures which we need to take to get that to see whether the data has been correctly stored or not. The other one which we use is like operational daily operations. So we do operations across the globe, whether the operations has been correctly conducted and what we need to take care while we are looking at operations. And the next is technology. Technology, we know that it's like keep on changing every day to day. So whether all the employees are being given opportunity, getting trained on the new technology or not, we need to see. And we'll be going into the detailed discussion of every point. This is just an outline. Next, regulatory. Regulatory is nothing but regular taxation matters. In our case, in India, it's GST, income tax, and other TDS and TCS process. Whether those have been corrected or not, in that we need to check. So I mean, in this the cloud environment, we need to see. So now we go point by point. Yeah, we go point by point. The first point which were dimensions of risk is, as we discussed, it's identity and access management. Which is రావట్లేదు కదా, చెమట పోస్తుంది పైగా, నేను చెప్తున్నా కదా మీకే చెమట పోస్తుంది. ఇక్కడ ఈ సౌండ్ వస్తుంది, ల్యాప్టాప్ సౌండ్ వస్తుంది. So identity and access management. Identity is, we have only two critical points like unauthorized access and excessive number of user logins and use of shared accounts. So unauthorized access means nothing but the access is permitted, but the role which is facing or not, we need to see. For example, we take an example of it. So I have a role of raising purchase order. So I have raised an organization a purchase order for getting procurement of 100 in quantity. So my role is to approve the purchase order and send it to the supplier. Supplier will ship the goods in 100 quantity and some receiver will receive, and that will be passed to accounts payable department to get the payment done. So that is the actual process. So there is a process, whatever will be the business, the process will be same. Make you to pay process, which we call it as. Whereas the purchase of the requisition will be triggered from the respective department. We have so many departments in an organization, right? The requisition will be triggered from the respective department. The requisition will be triggered into a purchase order, or it will be modulated into a purchase order. That purchase order will get approved by an appropriate authority. That purchase order will be sent to the supplier. Supplier will automatically ship the good that will be received by our inventory department and stored in the inventory. Once the inventory is hit, I mean reorder quantity is increased and inventory is pumped up, automatically the flow will go to the accounts payable department to get ready of payment for the respective supplier. There ends the picture. In this picture, I have an authorization to approve a purchase order. So my internal control measures are in such a way that I can only approve a purchase order. If I also have a role to receive, and if I also have a role to make the payment, what will happen? The purchase order will be triggered for 100. There are no one to see that is 100 or triggered 100 or not. I will receive 100, but I feed in the computer that I have received 120. The same will be interfaced to account payable module, where the payment will be done to supplier for 120, where actually the receipt is 100. So what happened? Here I am an employee of an organization. I should have access. But I have given an inappropriate access also. But as a purchase manager, I should have only access to procurement. I should not have any access to receiving or like making payment. But in this case, what happened? I have given access to procurement. I have also access to our inventory department to receive and store, and I also got access to make payment as well. In that case, definitely there is a chance of misappropriation. So once we step in for audit, we need to first check the roles and responsibilities of employees, whether the appropriate employee have got the appropriate role or not, or whether the employee has got any multiple roles need to be verified. This is the very, very key point in identity and access management. In the same way, employees who are retired from the organizations still continue to have their user logins from their remote locations. So cloud is nothing but we have a facility to log into the user application through our mobile and book the sales order, even though we are watching Salar movie, right? That is the facility of cloud. While watching movie also, if you receive a notification to approve or ship that sales order, you have a facility to log into your ERP application through your mobile and approve that sales order and ship your goods. So in such, if you are giving that much facility to the employees who are working with our organization, we also should ensure that the terminated employees have been disconnected from login or not. Once we step into the audit, whether that type of procedure, policies have been deployed by the organization or not. If not, we do nothing. We just report it to management. That's it. So these are the key areas which we need to take here. Like once we start audit under ERP environment, cloud environment, with respect to identity and access management. So how we do that? So how we recommend it to the organization is we need to deploy or develop a integrated identity and access management solution for application hosted on private clouds and other connected with existing or on-premise model. We need to develop a procedure. Procedure is nothing but every fortnightly all the logins need to be checked. And we also have reports for that on cloud environment. So if you run that type of one report, that report shows you. So Jayanth is an employee where he should be located in Vijayawada and he should be using internet access provider or cell phone network within the area of Vijayawada. If I am using this in a separate once I go to Vizag and using there, that definitely that report will pop up that in this network it should be using the ERP application, but it is being used in some other location also. So where the application is being that is being used by authorized organization might be sending me for the official work only, but I may go because everything is on my mobile. I'm working with my mobile or laptop, right? So these type of we know like most of the friends and other software employees are working from home from last 3 years. So all have started like moving to office now because whatever kacha pacha they can do they have done and they have worked for more than 5 6 companies and they have end from last 3 4 years. Most of us know, right? In the same sense, if you run a report, the report will pop up saying that in which IP address you are using this, in which area network you are using this application. That type of reports are also being developed by cloud service providers. So what is our objective and like, so what are the things which we can we take care? So what we can do is physical security in type of both private clouds and on-premise. We can deploy physical security to, stop the unauthorized persons. So unauthorized access to cloud phone with users is removed permanent promptly and other periodic review of super users because the super user is nothing but where you have all the access to all the modules. Whether the appropriate authority only having that or with all the persons are having that, we need to check. And these are the things which we can go through while this identity and access management is concerned. The next step in this is data. What are the risks associated with data? Data is, we all know that like data is the lifeblood of our organization. Once the leakage of data happens, or like that will be, the data with reputation of the organization will be lost. That is the main key factor for data. So we need to check these type of things where the unauthorized data access, we already told that unauthorized data access, data commingling. If you are with on public cloud, there is a chance of data commingling with one org to other org because all are using the same public cloud. Whether those parameters has been addressed by our cloud service provider or not, we need to check that. So data leakages across the shared infrastructure, the infrastructure is being shared, and the same way we need to check whether the correct programs have been deployed for our data storage and our data transfer. Termination of contract with the South Power Service provider. But for example, for 1 year we are using one provider, and we have seen so many providers before. I want to shift from IBM to Google. So we need to take care whether the entire data which has been there with IBM has been purged properly before getting that deployed on the Google platform. So these are the considerations which we need to take care. So the thing is, these are the 4 or 5 points which are there, which we initially to start with. Once we start the audit on cloud, which we need to be considered, but every point we need, there are so many measures and there are so many mitigation techniques are there which cannot be discussed here in a 1 or 2 hours session. So once you go and Google it or you have so many books on it, if you really, once you start conducting this audit, I request you to go through the stuff on Google and also few books available to conduct these type of audits. So these are the things which are there on data. So data, we can use transmission of data. The thing is whether once the sensitive data is getting transferred from one place to other, whether the organization has been taking proper steps for encryption of data. So whether the proper encryption methods have been deployed in the organization or do we need to be checked by us. And if not there, nothing we can do, we just report the same to management. So this is pertaining to data. The thing, another one is technology. Technology, we already talked about a lot about technology. Technologies keep change on day to day. And we need to see whether the organization has a program or like procedure to train the employees to get educated with the new technology. So otherwise, like we know that like human mind is resistant to change. So change immediately, we cannot accept it. It will take time for us to accept. In the same sense, we also should ensure that organizations have deployed some policies and procedures to get that employees trained on new technologies and also the technologies which are deployed in the organization, they have been trained on. So that's what it is. There will be huge turnover of labor. Because employees due to technology change, we need to take care whether the organization is being having sufficient measures to retain them or not. We need to check limitations or customizations of service offerings. So technology is nothing but we already discussed about programs, right? Interfaces and programs or reports which we discussed about the profitability of the product. In the same sense, in every product which we are going to deploy, there is some standard setup is there. Apart that, so that standard product cannot fit into the requirements of the business organization. So, for example, Oracle sells the product. We forget about Oracle, and if Tally sells the product, I have some one feature where automatic purchase requisition triggerance once the inventory hits the reorder level, we all maintain inventory, right? Now, as the GST came into picture, we are using inventory in Tally also. Before we only for 10 to 15 days we used to use, or else we will not. But we are majority of the clients are in my inventory. So I need a feature in uh, Tally where the reorder level hits for a particular product. Automatical purchase requisition should be triggered, then the purchase order should be introduced. We have that feature in Tally, no, right? So if we call your Tally person and ask to develop this type of program and deploy on our Tally, he will accept it and he will send this is the cost which is going to happen to develop which feature. We have this feature, but we will not sell this feature. We will develop this feature for the clients who require it. He will say and then develop the program and give us. In this type of customizations will happen when technology changes, because technology, there is every organization, big organization uses some technology. For our client uses Tally. Once on Tally, he comes to SAP. Once he comes to SAP, Tally becomes his legacy. So whether the data has been clearly transferred to Tally or not, SAP need to be taken. All the respective interface programs or data transmission programs have been properly approved by the higher management, or proper care and due technical expertise has been deployed while doing this data migration from legacies to the new ERP. These type of things need to be taken care. And once, if you find any of those type of disturbances, we need to report the same to management. So the next one which we are going to see is like availability. So operation. Operation is nothing but how good the application works. What is its downtime? Whether the downtime sequence affects our business runs. How this is operational efficiency. So how the integration works. These all need to be taken care. Integration we just talked about how the data will get integrated from inventory to account payable. So there are any planned outages are there, any disaster recovery, once disaster happens, how the recovery measures will be there. These are all contained to the operations. So we need to check all these things have been deployed properly. If any misappropriations or if any deviations are found, we need to report the same to the higher officials. So regulatory is nothing but our taxation and our core thing. So every ERP will have their own modules for this taxation, which we technically call as localizations. So every localization modules we have like called modules like GRC, which we call it as governance, risk and control. So in our case in India, we have GST and income tax and other statutory compliances. Every cloud environment, like because in clear tax code also we are filing income tax returns, we are filing GST returns. So whether that those packages are approved enough or whether the performance of packages which they are using are properly maintained or not, we need to be taken care. And if any deviations are observed, we need to. This is our like bread and butter. We can just once we start using them, we also know what exactly the results. Those tools will pump in once we put in the data. Those need to be taken care and report accordingly. So there's nothing but lack of monitoring and visibility depending on service provider. These are the things which we need to consider. That's it. These in outer SOX compliance and everything will come into this picture as I told you, like GRC modules. So these are the things which we need to take care while we start and perform audit. As already told you, this is just a kickstart for conducting an audit. If really you get an audit and start doing an audit, you need to deep dive into these areas and focus more on things which you need to do. So these are the common observations like password settings, port settings, security and privacy engines, terminated users, transferred employees, sensitivity data. Sensitive data need to be you need to check whether that is encrypted or not. So these are the good practices. Sensitive data is encryption. It should be there. That is a good practice. Auction of IP range restriction is a good practice. Use of secured connection is a good practice. So we have so many internet service providers, right? We also have internet service provider who is sitting on our street these days. We have anyway Airtel and this Reliance is there, but we have so many local players also for providing internet connection. So we recommend it for going into a branded internet connection rather than a local player. So the review report, clarification, this is the overall structure. As I told you, once you start conducting audit, you need to deep dive into it and conduct. And by this, like I'm closing the session. Thank you. ఏమన్నా అర్థమైందా లేకపోతే ఊరికే అట్లా వింటాను
నేను ప్రాక్టికల్ చాలా డౌట్లు అడిగాను
యా
సో నాకు 5 మెంబర్స్ మాత్రం స్టాఫ్ ఒక ఇద్దరు ఇళ్ళ దగ్గర నుంచి చేస్తున్నాం
రైట్
మాకు కామన్ వర్చువల్ డెస్క్టాప్
కామన్
AWS లో
అవును AWS లో పాసిబుల్ అవుతుంది ఇప్పుడు నేను ఇంకా ఇప్పుడు మీరు మైక్రోసాఫ్ట్ వాడతారా
ఆఫీస్
ఆఫీస్ 365
అది ఇది రాదు కదా సార్ క్లౌడ్ రాదు అది క్లౌడ్ వర్చువల్ సర్వర్ రాదు రమేష్
వర్చువల్ సర్వర్ మనం దాన్ని కొనుక్కోవాల్సిందే
చాలా ఎక్కువ
అవును ఎక్కువ అవుతుంది
ఎంత అవుతుంది
అది మనకి ఐడియా లేదండి అదేంటంటే హెవీగా యూజర్స్ లాగిన్ లో